It's okay to get bored of your spaces sometimes. It's okay to want a change and for something new to go on around you. And that's exactly the idea behind this video today. Hello Lloyds, hey, this is my craft diary. Welcome to a mesmerizing transformation. Please hit the subscribe button if you haven't done that yet, and get ready to witness the incredible journey of our living room stunning makeover as I unveil a whole new world of elegance and style. Join me as I share the captivating process of repainting and rebeautifying every corner and breathing life into this little space. Prepare to be inspired as I turn an old canvas into a masterpiece of design. So let's dive into this tale of creativity and passion already. To begin the makeover properly, I had to clear out every corner, and because there was no manpower to move the whole thing outside, I just moved them to the middle of the living room and covered them to shield them from paint droplets. Then I went ahead to paint the edges of the walls and then coat the wall in paint the first time, the second time, till it was well covered. Then before I proceeded to do other things. I didn't want to retain the old color because then it wouldn't really feel as new as I had wanted it to, and that's the reason why I chose white. As for the front, my friend suggested we don't leave it basic, and I agree with that because basic is boring, and that's why we went ahead to try and recreate this design, although we added a twist to it, but it came out nice. The reveal was very nice. The final result of it was mind-blowing and I loved it. I'm glad we didn't do the exact thing we had seen online. I'm glad we added our own twist to it. Now let's get to the most exciting part of this video for me, which is the process of making the broom decor. I wouldn't be surprised if one wondered how I intend to use brooms to decorate our living room, and that's why I filmed the process and I'll be explaining them. So, holding the broom down to the stick using masking tapes, the idea is to bend it round to stick spirally as tight as possible, using the masking tape to hold them down to the broom. And leaving them on for a couple of hours. This is what it looks like after I took it apart. And it looked pretty beautiful. As for the vase, my mom suggested wine bottles, which were the perfect fit for me. So I went in search of wine bottles and I decided to, play a little with some of them. So using a black tape, I created a pattern first on the body of the bottle before painting, just like I had done for the bottle that's already painted. I created a pattern on it just so that by the time I'm done painting, I would peel the tape off and I would still have my pattern retained. I chose the black tape because it was more precise for me in measurement and it did stick well to the bottle. I would have loved to carry out the same pattern for all the bottles, but the results wouldn't have been the same because all of the bottles were of a different shape. After this, I coated the first bottle a second time before going ahead to coat the second bottle for the first time and repeat the same for all the other bottles. Then I had to let them sit and dry before I can coat them the second time. So while I was waiting for the bottles to dry up, I went ahead to paint the brooms. Now I noticed that while I was putting the paint on the broom, it was losing the curls, it was straightening out, but not to worry, it still retained the fine shape at the end. After applying the paint on the brooms, while it's still wet, I put some glitter on it, just to add the vibe. While I set the broom to dry, I continued with coating the bottles all over again to cover up every part of it in paint, and then continued with painting the other parts of the broom. I repeated the same thing over and over again. As for applying glitters to the broomsticks after painting them, the idea is for the brooms to shimmer under any light reflections. And again, it's important to apply the glitter immediately after applying paint so the paint could catch the glitter and not let it fall out. Although using an acrylic paint or an oil-based paint would have been better for the vases, The matte paint I used did not turn out bad. It was actually nice. So after rounding up the painting and glittering process of the broomsticks, the bottles were now dry and it was time for the big reveal. So peeling out these things kind of relieved me of stress. I just enjoy peeling out things to reveal patterns. I don't know if it's just me, but I just like to see that fine finish to an artwork. Like this one, the result came out nice and I was really impressed with how good they looked. This right here was the last batch of broomsticks to be painted and glittered before assembling. And when it was time to assemble, my sister said, "Hold my beer, let me take over." She handled the assembling so well. And then she went on with it for a while before I took over. Before assembling, I laid out all the broomsticks and the bottles to dry completely to avoid rubbing off while assembling. Adding glitters to the bottles wouldn't be a bad idea, my sister thought. So I went ahead and tried it out and it wasn't a bad idea. After placing the vases in the living room, I loved the outcome of it. I loved the vibe it had with it. It wasn't a flower, but it's in a vase, and this made everyone wonder, what was that? So we've come to the end of this makeover, and here are a few flashes of the before and the after state of the room now. And honestly, I felt the former state of the living room was a bit darker than the present state it is now, which is very delightful for me. And I actually like that it feels more energizing right now. And the last but not the least, my favorite part of them all, the front wall of the living room. This was so amazing. I felt very excited waking up every morning, coming out to just stare at the living room and just beam with smiles and just walk away randomly without even having a reason for that. It was very exciting for me. So here, a quick glance around the living room. Out with the old, now with the new. The fact that my parents will always sit back and let me play around in anticipation for the outcome is the reason why, of all the awards I've received so far, this one is the most dedicated to them. Shortly after this makeover, my daddy's birthday celebration came right up, so I decided to clear out the dining area and turn it into a photo stand. Happy pictures were taken and happy moments were recorded. Anyways, if you've been here with me thus far, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and please share your thoughts with me on the outcome. Hope to see you in my next video. Bye.